Wars have been fought over oil, gold, and land. The next war already has a front line, and it runs through every river, aquifer, and reservoir on Earth. Freshwater is disappearing. Cities are colliding over what remains, and the physics behind it means nobody wins. Earth appears abundantly wet, but 97% is saltwater. Of the remaining 3%, 2/3 is frozen in glaciers and ice caps. Accessible freshwater, rivers, lakes, aquifers, represents less than 1% of all water on the planet. That fraction is all of civilization's water supply. That water cycles constantly, evaporating, forming clouds, falling as rain, seeping underground. The hydrological cycle has operated identically for billions of years. Physics governs every step. Rainfall depends on ocean temperatures, atmospheric pressure, and elevation, not on how thirsty cities have become. The cycle has no awareness of human demand. Underground aquifers, Earth's largest freshwater reserves, take hundreds to thousands of years to refill naturally. Glaciers accumulate over millennia. These aren't storage systems humans designed. They're geological formations operating on timescales that predate civilization itself. We drain in decades what took the planet centuries to store. This creates the permanent problem. Cities extract freshwater faster than the natural cycle returns it. Physics sets the replenishment rate. Urban growth ignores it. Every city near a river or aquifer is consuming borrowed water, and the interest rate is rising. A modern city of 1 million people requires 100 to 150 million gallons daily. But cities don't exist in isolation. Every river feeding one city drains from territory belonging to another. Every aquifer crosses borders that water doesn't recognize. Geography made water shared. Politics made it contested. Upstream nations hold a weapon most people never discuss: dams. Ethiopia's Grand Renaissance Dam controls the Nile's flow into Egypt and Sudan. Turkey's dam network regulates water reaching Syria and Iraq. Whoever controls the river's source controls the survival of millions downstream. Infrastructure became leverage before anyone called it warfare. Agriculture consumes 70% of all freshwater humans extract globally. Growing 1 kilogram of beef requires 15,000 liters of water. One cotton shirt consumes 10,000 liters. Nations exporting food and textiles are effectively exporting their freshwater reserves, invisibly, irreversibly, at industrial scale. Every food trade is secretly a water trade. When rivers shrink, the competition intensifies immediately. Farmers draw more groundwater. Cities impose restrictions. Industries lobby for exemptions. Each actor rationally protecting their own supply collectively accelerates the depletion for everyone. The tragedy of the commons, playing out in slow motion. Rational individual choices create collective catastrophe. This isn't a modern crisis. Ancient Mesopotamia, civilization's birthplace, collapsed partly from water mismanagement. Intensive irrigation without drainage salinized soil over centuries, destroying agricultural productivity. The land that fed empires became desert. Nobody saw it coming until the harvest failed. Civilizations have always consumed water on borrowed time. Cape Town, South Africa, 2018. 4 million residents approached day zero, the day municipal taps would shut off entirely. 3 consecutive drought years exposed an uncomfortable truth. The city had planned for average rainfall, not for what climate variability actually delivers. Day zero nearly happened, and Cape Town had infrastructure, engineers, and warning. The Aral Sea was once the world's 4th largest lake. Soviet irrigation projects diverted its feeding rivers to grow cotton in desert regions. Within decades, it shrank to 10% of its original size. Fishing industries vanished. Regional climate shifted permanently. An entire sea was eliminated, not by drought, but by decision. Different locations, different centuries, identical pattern. Societies consistently consume water faster than systems replenish it. Infrastructure gets built assuming stable conditions. Climate variability disrupts those assumptions. When scarcity arrives, the response is emergency, not the structural reform the situation demands. We keep failing the same exam. The United Nations identifies 263 international river basins shared between 2 or more nations. Over 3 billion people depend on freshwater sources crossing at least one political border. As scarcity intensifies, every shared river becomes a potential flashpoint between neighbors who once coexisted. Shared water stops being a resource and becomes a negotiation. The Nile feeds 11 nations and 500 million people. Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt are already locked in tense diplomatic standoffs over dam construction and flow allocation. India and Pakistan dispute Indus River rights continuously. China controls the headwaters of rivers feeding 1 billion people downstream. Upstream control is the new geopolitical power. Climate change doesn't create this conflict, it accelerates it. Glaciers feeding major Asian rivers are retreating measurably. The Himalayan glaciers supply freshwater to 2 billion people across India, China, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. When those glaciers disappear, the rivers they feed don't negotiate borders. 2 billion people share one melting reservoir. Military analysts already classify water scarcity as a Tier 1 security threat. The U.S. intelligence community's Global Water Security Report identified freshwater stress as a direct conflict trigger, not a metaphor. Not an exaggeration. Nations are preparing contingency plans for water-based instability right now. The war isn't coming. It's already being planned. Here's where physics could work in our favor. Water cannot be destroyed, only misallocated. Singapore has 0 natural freshwater sources yet faces 0 shortage. It engineered a closed-loop system. Wastewater fully treated to drinking standard, desalination providing backup, consumption priced at actual scarcity value. The problem was never water scarcity, it was water management. The first leverage point is pricing. When water reflects true scarcity value, behavior transforms. Israel, a desert nation, achieves agricultural output comparable to temperate countries using precision drip irrigation, driven purely by economic reality. Farmers optimize because water costs what it's actually worth there. Price signals achieve what regulations rarely do. The second leverage point is infrastructure. Fixing pipe leaks alone recovers 30% of water cities currently lose. Stormwater capture, aquifer recharge programs, and atmospheric water harvesting can supplement the natural cycle rather than simply extracting from it. The engineering is already solved. The political will to fund it isn't. The hydrological cycle will never accelerate to meet human demand. Physics won't negotiate, but treaties, pricing, infrastructure, and cooperation can align with physical reality instead of ignoring it. Nations that govern water wisely will survive. Nations that don't already have a name. They're called the historical record.